Hey, my name's Shanshan. I sell art on shanshan.co. Today we're going to review Missing. So it's a film directed by Nick Johnson and Will Merrick. So two directors. Time is an hour and 51 minutes. Actors are Tim Griffin plays James, the dad. Ava Zaria Lee plays Young June. Nia Long plays Grace, the mom. Storm Reid plays June, the daughter. Ken Leung plays Kevin, the new boyfriend of the mom. Amy Landecker plays Heather, the mom's lawyer. So this is a story, a mother and her new boyfriend are going to vacation in Colombia, and the teenage daughter's like, yeah, whatever, mom, I'll see you later. I'll pick you up on Monday. So she goes, has a wild party all through the weekend. And then Monday goes to the airport. Her mom and her new boyfriend don't show up. And she's like, oh my God, what happened? And so she goes to the police, and then she kind of tracks them down through Colombia online. So it does kind of this online research through the Mac and her iPhone and calling her friends around and really kind of brainstorming how to find her mom. And the more she looks into it, the more weirder the story gets. There's a lot of twists and turns in here. So you're like, will she ever get to her? So what I really liked about this film is it has a fun film style. It's a lot of it shot kind of iPhone style, on the fly, amateur camerature, security cameras, a lot of texting on the screen, on the Macintosh, texting on the iPhone, using Siri. So all the modern gimmicks and the whole film is shot that style. So I think it's a really cool new film style. I don't know how many films you can do like this because I think the audience will be a little limited in the sense the older generations, probably my age or older, may or may not appreciate that. So may be like, oh, this is too much stuff on the screen at once. But I could follow the film pretty fine. Some people may not like that style where it's not shot like a traditional sequence to sequence to sequence, shot a little bit herky-jerky, so to say. I think it's fine, but I think there will be some audience that might not be turned on by that. I really like the idea there's a lot of plot twists in the story. It goes one way, and then another detail's unrevealed, and the mom isn't who she says she is, and then the kidnapping turns out to be something else, and you're like, what is going on, right? So a lot of really cool turns and twists, and I really like the fact that the marketing for the film only suggests kind of the first, so to say, layer of the onion being unpeeled, but it doesn't reveal the 5 or 6 layers that go beyond that. So it's really good. The marketing of the film doesn't give away what actually happens. It gives you the crux of the story that the mother's kidnapped, but it kind of leaves you wondering where it's going to go from there. And there's several layers out of there that I really liked how they twist and turn, and they didn't reveal much of the real plot of the story, which a lot of films, unfortunately, in the marketing, sometimes they'll give away the whole plot. Like in Titanic, I never even saw it in the cinema because I was like, oh my God, I already know the whole plot. What's the point of going? Like you already know the thing's it's gonna go underwater. You know the guy's probably gonna go under because only the women survive, more or less. So you're like, why see a film? You already know the women's guy, and the marketing they showed that she found this necklace, and obviously her boyfriend wasn't around at the time, so it kind of ruined the film right out of the get-go. It was a really good film. I eventually saw parts of it, but to give away a whole plot film and the marketing just really sucks. But with the Titanic, you're kind of screwed because everyone knows the Titanic sank. I like the fact that they use some really great foreshadowing in the film that leaves a little bit of mystery, but it's vague enough that you don't really know where it's going. And they bring that full circle in the very end of the film and tie that together, which is really nice, kind of ties the story really together, but not giving away the plot. If you see it a second time, you obviously recognize right out of the bat, oh, I know what happens in the end, right? So it's kind of a really clever plot device, I think, in the story. Very good foreshadowing, but without giving away anything in the story. I love the idea of this teenage girl trying to sleuth what happened to her parents. I'm not sure to be realistic if she'd be able to investigate that fast on her iPhone and Macintosh. I think a teenager would think some of these things through, and maybe with her friends might be able to investigate some of this stuff, but would she get that far in the investigation? I don't know. I think it's maybe a little bit of wishful thinking, but who knows how clever teenagers are nowadays with the modern devices. But I mean, it kind of works for a film, so it's fun. But I don't think a teenager would be able to crack all the passwords of the parents. In the very, very final scene, they kind of add this scene where it's kind of fictionalized the whole story, which it's just you never want to do that as a director. I think you should have cut that scene, I think, or just shot a little bit differently. Kind of takes away the whole story you've just been watching for 90% of the time. You're like, oh, it's fiction or is it real? So it's just kind of dumb in that sense. I mean, that would just like, you would never do that. It'd be like, you get a film on the Blu-ray and you download it and they like, here's how we made the film. Watch it all first. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that because then it ruins the whole effect of the movie. It's like, it's good that some of those secrets are left behind to people wonder like, how did they shoot that scene? Like, I never knew how they did Star Wars until I was much older and they showed on the VHS, or maybe it was on the Blu-ray or DVD, and they show you how they did the painting of the Death Star where they're looking down. It's actually a painting where they're underneath a painting that's 10 feet, 20 feet down below. But, you know, the real magic of cinema is not knowing that at the time and be like, whoa, this is so badass, you know? You're not finding that out until you're much older. I think it's fine much older, but, you know, nowadays people want to tell you, like, the very next day after the film comes out, here's how we made the film, and you're like, you just ruined the whole magic of movie making. You know, the whole point of movie making is kind of keep some of those secrets behind the scenes. It's supposed to be magical, right? Not, if you show all the tricks, it's not magical anymore. So I think with, you know, a lot of the behind the scenes nowadays, it's kind of like they're ruining a lot of films, especially on the Blu-ray release. Obviously, when it comes out, it's fine, but later you get like, oh, here's the making of, you know. It's like watching sporting events, knowing the end game of the points. You're just like, I don't want to watch the sporting events. I like how they started in the beginning of the film. There's a scene where the mother is splicing together old videos for her daughter. She's kind of cutting out the bad side of her dad, or, you know, that he has maybe a medical condition. So that's kind of very thoughtful, but then later it turns out to be a little bit something different. It's revealed later in the very final scenes of the movie. So I really like the fact that she's putting together kind of this mementos for her daughter to see when she's older, but, you know, then it turns out to be something else, you know, as the story, layers of the onions are unpeeled and revealed. I like the idea too of this spicy teenager. She's kind of like a typical teenager know-it-all, which is very typical in your teenage years. You think your parents are a bunch of idiots, and some people's parents are a bunch of idiots. They might just be factory workers. You're like, okay, I can figure out what you do, you know, for your life. You kind of screwed it up. But other parents are much more clever, so it's very fun and tongue-in-cheek in the sense that teenagers like can have this big party behind their parents' back and then clean it all up. But then when it comes down to Monday, she's like, oh my God, my parents disappeared. This is on serious red alert. I completely flipped her life completely upside down. I think it's a really fun film. I don't know if you collect it, because once you've seen it, you've seen it, because it's a mystery. So then once it's revealed, it's not necessarily a mystery. It is a really well put together with all the little cuts they put together here. There's a lot of, you know, different cuts to put all the texting together, and, you know, the movie clips and the security clips. And there's several different cuts to kind of put this together in post. So from a filmmaking editing standpoint, it's pretty cool. Hope you guys like my review. If you'd like to watch more, you can subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next movie review. Thanks for watching, guys.